My mom got married to Alan 2 years ago. I am teen female, and Alan's 2 kids are Emma, tween female, and Noah, infant male. Noah was diagnosed with cancer last year, and someone told my mom and her husband that there's some different treatment he could get in another country, and if they could raise the money, it would be better for Noah than the treatments available in the U.S. My mom and Alan could not afford it, so they've been sending him the treatment here and saving for Noah's treatment. They made a lot of cutbacks and asked that Emma and I give over any money we get so that we can afford this. They have about 70% or something now, resulting from cutting out a lot. We eat very basic meals. They've canceled our internet, and we don't do anything for our birthdays or Christmas since we started saving. Any money that comes into the house goes to essentials or the treatment fund. My dad died 9 years ago, and my paternal family stayed a part of my life. They know what has been happening, and they've been buying me little treats and taking me out to eat when they can. They also give me money every couple of weeks to have something if I ever need anything. I've been hiding that money because I know I'd be told to give it up. I carry it everywhere because Emma's the type to snoop and tell her dad. She's asked me why I don't babysit to help make more money for her brother. She would work if she could, but she's only 11. I spent some of the money for my grandparents over the weekend. I got my hair cut, and I bought my best friend a gift for her birthday. I also got some food and spent time at my dad's grave. My mom noticed my haircut and asked where the money came from, and she realized I was lying when I said that I'd been with my grandparents and they took me because I forgot they were out of town. So I told her they gave me money to get some stuff done. Mom told me a haircut was unnecessary and how selfish I could be. Alan heard her scolding me, and he jumped in and asked what the heck was wrong with me. He told me this family had to pull together for Noah, and I'm acting like I don't care whether Noah gets his treatment or not. Of course, by the end of the day, Emma heard and freaked out. Then my mom ran into my best friend's mom a couple of days ago, and she told Mom my gift to my best friend was so sweet and thoughtful. I was sat down and yelled at for spending the money on not just me, but on others. Alan asked me how I could give money for a gift that meant nothing when it could have gone to save my brother's life. I yelled back that it's not my job to pay for Noah's treatment, and I was already sacrificing, but I refused to go all the way out the way they wanted me to. I told them the money came from my family, a family who has nothing to do with them, and they needed to let it go. Alan called me a selfish little witch, and he told me I should be ashamed of my repulsive behavior. Now Emma keeps telling me I'm a bad person. Am I the idiot for not contributing to my stepbrother's treatment fund? Not the idiot. Go live with your grandparents if you can. Pitch it as a way that's to help them save money for Noah, and don't ever go back. I get being worried about your kid, but to starve the other kids of having a youth just to send him somewhere else. Do they not realize that this is just to send him there? Not to mention the cost of the stay. Also, it's very likely that this treatment in another country is a scam. Speaking from personal experience, there are unfortunately a lot of quacks who prey on the desperate parents of sick children. But honestly, there probably isn't a point in telling them that because I doubt that they'll listen. I had a brother with cancer, and it is incredibly hard on parents to watch their children suffer like that. But that doesn't give your parents a free pass to abuse you. $10 says it's not even medical treatment, but some alternative scam in Mexico or Thailand. There's almost certainly a good reason why it isn't available in the U.S. And I guarantee if they have a college fund for OP, it's already gone or in the fund for Noah. And probably any inheritance from the late father was in the mother's hands, and Social Security's probably received for OP. I do feel badly that a young child is so ill, but that's not an excuse to sacrifice OP's well-being, or even that of Noah's sister. Definitely not the idiot. I hope you find a way to be away from your toxic family. I had my son, a young teen, as a teenager. His dad was my cousin's boyfriend, 28 then, and I admit I was a witch for doing that. I got my karma because he's a deadbeat, and I got no help from my parents as a punishment for betraying my family. Whatever. We lived and I learned. I get the hostility towards me, but I'm tired of them forcing my son to hate me. They didn't want crap to do with him when he was a baby, but now that he technically doesn't need me, they're trying to tell him that he doesn't have a dad because of me, or that I'll never be enough to advance his athletic career and am therefore ruining his life. Crap like that. I've begged them to stop, but they say that they're simply telling him the truth, and it's up to him to decide if he wants anything to do with me, and that it's the consequences of my actions. I get it. I really do. But this is insanity. I tried to limit their contact, even though my parents threatened to stop helping me pay for his sports. Sure, it meant more work for me, but it's nothing I can't handle. Anyway, it turns out my attempts were in vain because my son was still seeing them behind my back, and I only found out because my son started crying to me because of all the stress that had been building up. He was only still meeting them because my dad promised he'd buy him high-quality sports gear so long as he wouldn't abandon his grandparents. I was furious, so after I put him to sleep, I stormed over to my parents' house, and I admit, I lost it a little. I took the high-quality sports gear and threw it at them before telling them that they don't get to hold a decade-long mistake over my head. My mom just said I ruined a relationship with her family and that the consequences I'm facing are nothing compared to the things she's had to deal with, thanks to me. She kept going on about consequences while my dad told me to expect harsh consequences from my son for taking his sports equipment. He also said something about choosing my pride over my son's dream. I snapped and told them that I didn't care about the consequences, that the word had lost all meaning, and they all just sounded like idiots to me. My parents got extremely angry and said that my attitude was doing me no favors, and there was a reason no one was on my side, and no one was willing to forgive or trust me. Then they kicked me out of the house, and now my older sister won't stop calling me just to yell at me for not learning crap the past years and continuing to disrespect my family, especially my parents. I'm just exhausted, and I need to know, at least temporarily, if I'm the bad guy here. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. They're choosing to not only hold your mistakes against you, but they're actively manipulating your son and damaging his mental health to get to you. Honestly, even though the cheating was definitely not a good decision, the fact that you were raised by these people and ended up possessing any kind of moral compass at all is pretty remarkable. And you ironically seem to be the only one in your family who has one. So kudos to you for that. While what you did was crap, you are not a homewrecker. They weren't even married. He also cheated. Whether it was with you or someone else was most likely just a matter of time. There are always two sides to the coin. Honestly, I can't get over the fact your family's still punishing you for something that happened when you were a teen, a literal child yourself. You were groomed, and they don't even care? Why are they projecting their anger onto you and not the 28-year-old who cheated on your cousin and impregnated you? Ugh, I'm so sorry for the circumstances you're in. Probably best to go low or no contact. Expensive sports equipment be darned. Didn't the cousin also dodge a bullet? And shouldn't they ultimately be happy about that? If they're being mean to you, I mean. OP, please talk to your son. He's a young teen. You can be open with him. He knows you're a good mom, and he knows you love and support him. Tell him that you are who you are in spite of these people who shunned you and made life much harder for you both. Your parents are scummy people. I, female 21, have 3 older brothers. My brother, 32, is married. His wife is 30. Our parents are lawyers. Mom was still working full-time when my brothers were born and when they were little. Then they had me, and my mom, who always wanted a girl, decided to switch to stay-at-home mom, and later on she started working part-time when I started school. I think I was a little bit more sheltered than my brothers, but I think that's just because I'm a girl and not because our parents love me more. I've seen it with my friends' parents as well. I'm also married and a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I have an infant baby boy. Well, now to the conflict. This happened last week at my nephew's birthday party. At one point, I asked everyone if they minded if I nursed my baby there, or if I could go to one of the bedrooms to do it. Everyone was fine with it, so I just followed through, and we continued talking. I'm only breastfeeding my son. I don't pump milk or give him formula. My sister-in-law asked me about it, and I told her I just prefer to do it like this. My son's pediatrician says that he's healthy and doesn't need formula, so I like breastfeeding. Well, my sister-in-law thought that it was very offensive how I said that I liked it, because it sounded as if I didn't understand my privilege for being able to do it. She said, of course you like it, because you don't do anything else all day than have your kid in your arms and breast. I honestly feel like they came out of nowhere, and I asked her why she was saying that. She told me that she's tired of hearing me talk about how wonderful motherhood is because I'm just a glorified housewife, and I talk like being a mother is the easiest thing in the world just because I don't work and I don't do most of the housework. I told her that every time I talk about motherhood, I do it from my perspective. It's not my fault that other women don't enjoy it as much as I do. I'm giving my opinion, and that's all. Well, she started calling me out on my privileges and said I'm just a silly girl who doesn't understand the world. I got angry and replied to her. So on top of what my sister-in-law was saying, my brother started telling me to stop with that spoiled brat attitude and that I needed to face the real world, and he insisted on how privileged and spoiled I am by our parents and my husband. My husband intervened, and my brother and he argued too. My parents also tried to say that sister-in-law's attack was uncalled for. My husband and I left, and so did my parents. But about half an hour after I left, I received a text from my brother saying that everyone was uncomfortable and some people had left his son's birthday party because I can't take criticism. He also noted that my nephew is severely upset with me. My husband and parents are very obviously on my side, and so are my friends, although one of them told me that maybe my sister-in-law is stressed out because of her job and taking care of her children, and as another mother, I should be more understanding. But brother and sister-in-law accuse me of trying to steal the spotlight from my nephew again and say that I'm rude for defending myself. Oh boy, projecting like this, your sister-in-law should get a job with IMAX. You are not the idiot. If you insult someone in your home, of course they'll leave, yet your sister-in-law and brother are surprised? If I were treated that way, I'd never darken their door again. Stealing the spotlight from your nephew for breastfeeding is seriously messed up. What a sick perspective. Maybe that's why people left. They were uncomfortable with what they were saying and arguing, not that you made them uncomfortable. Next time they say you can't take criticism, maybe point out that it's not their job to criticize you. If your sister-in-law had shown some manners to her guest, this wouldn't be an issue. Everyone's the idiot. This is so obviously not about breastfeeding. It's about your brother's resentment towards you because you had a very different childhood than he did. He's taking it out on the wrong person. It's your mother that he should be confronting, not you. Seeing another child clearly favored over you hurts, and it can hurt long into adulthood if not addressed and dealt with. Your attitude shows you have no empathy for your brother and is hurt. Sure, they mishandled this and were rude and bad hosts, but hurt can make you irrational. However, he is an adult and needs to start behaving like that. I hope your brother gets the help he needs, and maybe going no contact with you will help him heal. I think, OP, you are the idiot. Sister-in-law's right. You don't know about the real world. You're 21. Don't work, don't go to school, don't clean. All you get to do is take care of the baby. You come from a place of privilege. Also, at no point did your sister-in-law indicate that she didn't enjoy motherhood. She said you had it easier, and you do. And it's time for your mommy to wake up and realize she did some damage to your brothers. I, female 27, and my husband 30, have been together for 7 years and are currently expecting. I'm 27 weeks pregnant, and at the time of this event, I was 25 weeks. The other important people in this situation are my younger brother, 23, his girlfriend, 23, and their child, a young male grammar schooler. They're young parents, obviously, and had their baby when they were still in high school. As I mentioned, I'm 27 weeks pregnant, and my doctors told me that I have a high-risk pregnancy due to placenta previa. Because of my condition, I have no choice but to have a scheduled C-section when it's time, and when I found out, this was really upsetting news. I'd always planned on a natural birth, so it just kind of hit me hard. However, above all else, I want my baby to be healthy, and me, so it is what it is. My other sister-in-law, my husband's sister Carrie, has been really supportive of me and my pregnancy, and we talk a lot. Well, recently there was a family gathering, and of course my husband and I went, and I was sitting with Carrie, talking about work, when my brother's kid came over. He's a young grammar schooler, like I said, and he was interested in my belly. He asked me why I was fat, LOL, and he kept reaching towards my bump. I grabbed my nephew's hands and explained to him that I had a baby in my tummy and that pretty soon he was going to have a baby cousin. It's okay to touch my bump, but just be gentle, especially so because of my previous. I'm supposed to be on bed rest, but obviously I didn't tell this child this. This little idiot, not exaggerating, he's also just horrible, reaches and touches my belly before winding back and punching me. Holy crap, that little kid had some power. Immediately, Carrie and I scolded him and reminded him that 1, he needed to keep his hands to himself, and 2, it was very mean and dangerous to hit my belly. He apologized and then ran off. A few minutes later, his mother, my brother's girlfriend, came up to me and asked me what I told her son. I explained what happened, exactly how it happened. She told me her son was upset because I yelled at him. My internal dialogue was that, yeah, I bet he is, because he never gets disciplined in general. He's a spoiled child, and his parents let him do whatever he wants. Externally, I apologized for it, but reminded her that he needed to not hit my tummy or anything else in general. She rolled her eyes and just walked away. About an hour later, my husband and I were getting ready to go, so I stood up and went to say goodbye to my brother. He was standing with his son, and as soon as I was within arm's reach of him, the kid reached out and smacked me in the stomach again. Hard. I doubled over that time, and my husband immediately started to scold the child while making sure I was okay. My brother's girlfriend started to lose her mind about us parenting her kid for her, resulting in my husband getting loud with her about how the kid was a brat and needed it. In turn, my brother and husband had quite a large argument that most of our family witnessed. And now half of my family's mad at her, and the other half is mad at me. I understand that my husband probably didn't handle it the best, but the child was literally hitting me. Absolutely not the idiot. Lucky that kid didn't get smacked back, just out of pure instinct, especially after hitting you twice. Obviously, he's young, so he's learning, but this is bad. Seriously, someone must teach this kid the importance of keeping their hands to themselves if they cannot be gentle. Also, it's a red flag for a young boy not to be gentle. I'd hate to see how he behaves towards animals. This was beyond not okay behavior. I think the parents need to nip this in the bud ASAP. What the heck is wrong with people? The fact that the nephew did it twice is very disturbing. That kid is very troubled. No one should be hitting pregnant women and or babies. Don't be surprised that he gets into trouble at school for hitting his classmates. I hope your brother does something about his son's behavior before a stranger does it for him. Prioritizing your high-risk pregnancy is non-negotiable. Your husband's intervention was necessary for your safety. No fault lies with you.